Hello, everybody. Good to be with you. I was in a session today with an Indian student of mine. She was born in India, raised as traditional Hindu. And we were talking about differences in cultures and religions and this kind of thing. And I happened to let it slip. I said, not every teaching is pointing at the same thing. And she said, really, tell me more about that. And I just told her, we all hear it that, all these teachings, everybody's pointing toward the same thing. Everybody, all paths will get you there and all this kind of stuff. And as I told her, it's just simply not true. And so I kind of, in my mind, this was that everybody knew this, but then when I reflected on it, I realized, well, this isn't what everybody says. Everybody says all paths lead the same, to the same thing, and everybody's pointing at the same thing, and blah, 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 blah. And it's just different strokes for different folks. And that last part is true, provided you're not interested in actually waking up, right? So what I want to do is I want to point out, and I don't mean this in an arrogant way. I'm not saying that I have the best teaching. I'm not saying I have the only way to wake up. I don't have the only way to wake up. The living method is one way for some people to wake up. If you are drawn to this teaching, I notice that I have an extraordinary record of success in terms of enlightenment. But there are a lot of people that are not drawn to this teaching. They'll cut on YouTube, they see me, and they think, well, that guy's an idiot. And they just cut it right off. And other people, they'll read about the pumpkin's life, and they won't pay any attention to the light in the pumpkin. That's to dismiss the whole teaching because of a pumpkin. And so, in other words, the exterior of the history that goes here. Because a lot of the history that goes here isn't pretty. It just isn't. And there's nothing I can do about that. And it's actually not detracting from the teaching. It's part of the teaching, which is that awakeness will choose whatever vehicle it wants to do whatever it wants with. It could care less about pumpkins. It's only interested in a conveyor of light. And it'll shine through anything, right? It'll even shine through this. And so, it's obviously not that picky. So what I want to show you is that most teachings, when I say this, I mean almost all teachings outside of non-duality. But now understand that there are non-dual teachings within Christianity, Judaism, Sufism, Hinduism, Buddhism with Zen. So they're non-dual teachings all around, so they don't have to be named non-duality. It doesn't have to be Advaita in order for it to be non-dual. But if you're not involved in the mystic element of your path, then the chances are that you're just never going to wake up, right? And most of the people who will watch this are involved in the mystical element of their path, which means that mysticism is your path, or non-duality is already your path, or you wouldn't be listening to this. So within non-duality, I want to tell you that what I'm going to show you is true in regards to most teachings. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not, or that it shouldn't be so or it should be so. I don't get a vote in reality, actually. I get to raise my hand, and God ignores it and goes on and does what he wants to do, right? So that's our agreement. I vote, he doesn't count it. So the truth is that most teachings, I have a visual here, see? Most teachings are pointing to this, which is this circle. See that? So most teachings are pointing toward this circle. You get on anywhere you want to in here. And when you when you join the teaching, you join somewhere along the way in this circle. And then what you do is you go around the circle. And you go around the circle, and you may go around the circle, let's just say a couple of times. There are a great many circular teachings. and you go around the circle, and then as you come around the circle the second time, you begin to, wow, yeah, some of this is really familiar, and you can see that that these teachings that I'm paying attention to, they're very clear, and they may be very clear. The question is, are they freeing or not? Are they freeing? That's the only thing that matters. Clarity be damned if it's not freeing. So, and that's a tough thing to say, but especially from a guy whose website is Awakening Clarity. I understand all that. I'm just telling you that this is the way it is as I see it. And it's not that I am out in the field and sampling from zillions of other teachings, but my teachings are one-on-one, almost exclusively. I mean, we do satsang or whatever, and I've done some group things, but virtually everything I do is one-on-one. So I'm meeting one-on-one with seekers multiple times every day. I stay booked. So it's 3 to 4 times a day. I am in front of somebody who is in front of another human being, somebody who sought and then found their way to this teaching. And maybe I'm doing an awakening session. Maybe I'm doing a clarity session. Sometimes there's no difference. A clarity session becomes a reawakening session, if you will. But the idea here is just notice that there's a circle only. And by the time you've gone around this circle 3 or 4 times, heck, you're so familiar with the territory that you can start to teach how to go around the circle. See? How to navigate the turns. How to go with the bumps and all of this, so that you can continue a very smooth path around the circle. The only problem with a circle is that you never actually get anywhere. A circle is not freeing. There's no end point. I'm not saying there's an end point to any of this, but there is no point involved. However, the living method, and I'm just telling you this because this is the way it is. I don't give a damn about promoting my teaching. You take that as you will. So this is more like what the living method is like. And what you'll notice, this is an infinite line in the same way that the circle is an infinite line. That just as the circle is an infinite line, so is this an infinite line. Okay. So, and you get in, but on this infinite line, if you will, you get in somewhere over here, and what happens is that you go along and we work together, and then there is a point. See, there's a point in this teaching, pun intended. But actually, I did the drawing, and then I realized, well, I see there's no point in that teaching. So it wasn't really intentional, but I'll take it, right? I'll take whatever puns I can find. So there is this teaching. You come in here, and then there is a point, and this point is what I call, and you call, and everybody calls, an awakening event. And it doesn't have to be much in the way of an event. Some of the clearest people I know have woken up with me saying, "You're kidding," or saying, "Oh," right? And that's it, right? No, almost never do I see the big explosive awakenings anymore. The teaching is simply too skillful for that. Big explosive awakenings happen when there's a huge, sudden shift. I had a big explosive awakening because I was just nothing. I mean, I was so far from living as awakeness when awakening just occurred here that, it was a tremendous shift. I can hardly think of a larger one that could have occurred, but I know that there are. At any rate, it was all angels and trumpets over here, fireworks, the whole thing. And when I was first teaching, I got a lot of that kind of awakening. And the funny thing is the reason I got that kind of awakening when I was first teaching is that I wasn't that good a teacher. I had a very good vehicle. I had the embryo of the living method working for me. And I was but it wasn't just, it would also had some story elements involved, some visualization and stuff like that. It was very, very powerful. I was very successful with it. But the awakenings I got were quite explosive. Now, there's not usually a sudden shift unless you can call a 1 hour session. Well, because it takes about an hour to wake somebody up. It does spend about 30 minutes, orienting them, helping, because that's as important as the awakening event. It really is. And maybe it'll take 40 minutes to wake them up, sometimes even 30, but whatever. I'll spend the rest of the session in orientation with them. So it is this event, however, but so you catch this over the course of an hour, not over the course of a millisecond. There's not that one sudden thing that goes, ah! There are aha moments, but there are lots of aha moments. So that there's a building one thing on top of the other. So that by the time that you see the truth, it's just self-evident. And you go, oh. And then, usually you tell me that you're awake. And it's like, wow, that's great. Weren't you awake when we started? And the answer is always, yes. Yes, I was. But I didn't know it. See, the thing is, if your awakeness, because there's nobody awake, and there's nobody that's not awake. There's only awakeness, period. There's only awakeness everywhere and everything, and even prior to this, there is only awakeness. This is actually consciousness, which springs from awakeness, but is not awakeness. It's a different thing. At least in this video. I mean, sometimes I sloppily use them as synonyms, but I'm not doing so here. So there is only awakeness. And that's what you come to see that you are. And who is it that comes to see that? It's awakeness. See, there's not actually a Fred here. And whoever you think you are, you're not that thing. What you are is your awakeness that thinks you're a Bob or a Carol or a Tim or a Joan, right? That's what you think. But it's awakeness actually that thinks it. The unit is just a vehicle. And it is a thinking vehicle. It's a vehicle. It's a sensing device for awakeness. So, which would include the sensing, thinking kind of device for awakeness. But it's not initiating those thoughts. It's just processing them. There's no thought being initiated here at all. It's just being processed here. Where is it being initiated? From all this conditioning. It's all red buttons hitting red buttons. The only thing that is not automated in the rising that you are currently experiencing is at the very least is this conversation. This is not automated. This is, and it's not dead truth either, because it's coming through Fredness, which is going to distort it. And then it hits your conditioning, which is going to distort it further. So we are here together we come together in truthiness. We come together in something very truth-like. Yeah? But we can't say that it's the truth, because it just simply isn't. The truth can't be spoken. But this is close. What I want you to see is that if there is no point on that line, there are non-dual schools now who believe that awakening, and will teach that awakening is actually just, no, that's just a myth. It doesn't really happen. That's just, the way that the old people would do that. I mean, unbelievable. Will deny the very purpose of what they're doing. At least the initial pastor, the purpose. The old Zen masters were not saying, there's not really anything like awakening. That's the new Zen masters. Not all of them, but some of them will actually teach that. So, and there are people who declare it, and there are people in other religions or other paths as well, who declare it. But it is real. There's nothing here for you unless you enjoy the view. If you enjoy the view of moving around in this circle, you can close your eyes and throw a dart, and whatever religion or path it lands on, you'll be very happy with. And the truth is that most people want this circle. Even the most devoted seekers want that circle, most of them, because that's the comfortable circle. That's where all my friends are. That's where my social life is. I get to think about myself as being a really good person. I get to think about what's going to be like when I wake up and da-da-da. But I don't actually have to actually wake up. I just get to think about living what's going to happen when Fred wakes up versus waking up to the fact that there's no Fred, and that then I have to operate as what I am, which is awakeness. People want to live in enlightenment, but no one wants to live as enlightenment. People want to live in peace, but nobody wants to live, or very few want to live as peace. People who actually do want to live as peace, a remarkable number of them find their way to this teaching, and they're very happy they did. So this is. But I'm not saying again that this is the only. There's some good teachings out there. There are lots of very clear teachers. There aren't that many who can actually teach you how to wake up because they don't know how to wake you up. And again, clarity be damned if it's not freeing. Is your teaching freeing? Is it actually freeing you? That's what this is for. That's what this video is for, is to ask you, is your teaching freeing you? If not, consider another path. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like this path. I don't care. It's an empty-headed unit over there. I don't care what it thinks. I can't stop the what it's thinking either. So please, have at it. But I want you to understand that there are some teachings out there. I don't want to name them, because then when I name them, if I name those teachings that I would tell you are absolutely authentic, then there are some, then there were many, most that I will exclude. And I don't want to ruin you. I don't want to rain on your parade. If you're enjoying your circle, why should I come in and tell you that you're on a circle? I want to give you the tool to identify the circle yourself. Are people around you waking up? If not, you're probably in a circle. And are you waking up? If not, they may have found a line here, but you may be in a circle. Because not every circle is circular for everybody. Not every line is a line for everybody. The living method is not for everybody. It's too sharp. It's way, way, way sharp. It's very, very direct. And it's not always, it's not even always all that polite or anything like that. It can get it can get very, very direct and shut some idiot down that's being idiotic when there's the opportunity to be clear. And they're welcome to do that anywhere but in my presence. And if they're coming to me in a session, then they need to prepare themselves to be clear. Because if not, I'll shut them down and then make them clear, but sadly I might have to embarrass them or something first. I mean, most people I have just have a blast in their awakening sessions, and they wake up with great joviality and big laughter and all this, and my students love this teaching, and my students love me. I can't say all of them love me, because I'm sure they don't. But all of them respect what it is I'm doing, and all of them have respect for this teaching. And the ones who hang around, they do love me, and they love this teaching. And it's not a circle. We got them out of the circle and put them on a line with a point. You are on the line, there's an awakening event, you continue on the line, but it's not continue as before. that event with coaching can change everything. Without coaching, it's probably going to be a line, a bump, and the same old line. That's what happens actually a great deal of the time. Not everybody who wakes up clears up. A small percentage of those who wake up clear up. But it is available. That's what I wanted to let you know, is that it is available. Examine where you are. Take ownership of your own spiritual program. Is what you're doing working? If it's not, abandon the hell out of it. Now, today. Don't sit around trying to, because you're loyal to something that's not working. I don't want anybody staying with me if this thing isn't working. I want them out of here. Because I want somebody in that seat who can hear me. And maybe the other teachers are the same way. Who knows? I can't speak for them. But I've said enough. That's all I'm going to say today. It's a short video. Thank you very much. And, I just, come to see me at Awakening Clarity. Come to the website. Go to YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search Fred Davis non-duality, and you'll get a zillion hits. And take any one you want. They're all clear. And I hope to see you. Hope to see you in satsang. Thanks. Bye-bye.